I find that interesting because, going after money, woman, job, all this drugs and rock and roll, you do that every day. But you don't do that every day thinking about the existence and reality. Who you are, where do you come from, what's going to happen to you. You see, it's not every day that you think about the real big questions. So what I'm saying is that your friends are asking, invite your friends back and say, look, this is something that every one of us individually, by our own self, have to get the answers.
Sure, yeah.
Which needs to be convincing to our own self. Not convincing to him.
I have to get the answer for me.
Sure.
Not for anyone else.
Exactly.
As long as my answer is satisfactory to myself.
Exactly. So now, let's make things very simple. As we exist and we understand that you're not a hyper-skeptical in which you don't believe that you don't exist. You have some degrees of understanding that there is existence. You exist and I exist. If such an existence exists, could there be a time in the past, doesn't matter how remote it is, how far it is, where there was absolutely nothing?
In theory, sure.
If that is the case, how does something come out of nothing?
You should ask the physicists.
The physicists say the same thing. Nothingness cannot make anything. Something cannot come.
Maybe the universe is eternal.
So it's not that.
So there was never a start.
Fine. So the idea or the concept that there was some nothingness at one point and then the universe came, it's not logical or reasonable. So there has to be something always in existence. And you postulated that the universe has always been there. So it doesn't need
Potentially, yeah.
Okay, good. So let's take that model. The universe has always existed. Has the universe undergone transformation, changes?
I guess so, yeah.
Exactly, it has been. The universe is expanding. For any transformation to happen, what do we need? Can this tripod?
Yes, it can.
Can this tripod make your jacket, which says "work in progress"?
Yes, statistically there is a yes. That's quantum physics. Anything can happen at any
Quantum
time.
physicist, you may be a mathematician. Now tell me, how do you explain by statistical probabilities and alluding to quantum physics that a material object with no consciousness, no will or volition or ability, can make a jacket as it is like that with the English words written "work in progress"? I would like to hear some good explanations which are coherent and meaningful.
I don't think I owe you any coherent and meaningful explanations.
I'm expecting, I'm not demanding.
Well, it sounded like you were demanding.
No, I'm not.
But I'm not a quantum physicist. But I think by chance, if you have an infinite number of opportunities in one of them, that will happen.
So you believe in the probability statistic where given enough time, everything is happening.
For that initially you need the options to be existing. Like if you toss a coin, the possibilities are already ingrained in the design of the coin. The head or tail. Yeah, so likewise you have to have initial design of the possibilities. Otherwise
because I don't need to be able to calculate possibilities for anything to happen.
But you need in the setup the possibilities. Like you cannot get
but if the possibilities are infinite, I don't have to specify any specific outcome.
a certain level of specification. Otherwise,
No, because if I say the options are infinite, then I don't need to specify specific. But, gentlemen, we are going on our way.
Yes.
I'm showing my friends around town. I would like to thank you.
You haven't read the Quran, have you? None of you.
I've read part of the Quran.
Why don't you open up the Quran and read and ask questions about it? Because this Quran asks you to think about the existential questions that we are just about to discuss.
by the way, even if you take the infinite possibility are there, I mean, you should have some certain consistent explanation for that. Why that infinite possibility exists? Yeah.
Even the precondition needs
We will
rules.
have to go.
Okay,
Have a
thank
good
you.
day.
Thank you.
Just to explain then what we were talking about in terms of infinite possibility. If there were no initial set rules or conditions, can anything happen in any way, any meaningful way?
So the problem is that you need to have in the setup of infinite possibilities, there could be many types of infinities. So you have to have maybe you have to have specific types of infinities at the first place. Second one, even if there are infinite number of possibilities, then to have a unfolding of a certain ways of events from this possibility, set of possibilities, you have to have a rule for that. Otherwise, you usually say that sometimes a potato can become human and human can become a potato. It will be random everywhere. You cannot have a certain certainty in anything. You cannot do anything in real life. So that's absurd, or that's inconsistent to whatever we see in the real world. So that's why this invoking of infinite possibility is no longer, doesn't help anyway in this scenario. It's just trying to wash out the rational comprehension.
Let's hope our audience, those who are listening, our viewers, reflect on this, because there seems to be some kind of justification people try to make not to really believe in the existence of a creator, not to be involved in practicing a certain way of life as determined by the creator, to expect a life hereafter. So these are justifications, and it looks like all of these justifications, one by one, they are not coherent, and they are not something that one can justify and keep on holding this view. So let us keep reflecting on these things, and hopefully, inshallah, God willing, people will, using their critical thinking, come to the realization that there indeed is a creator who is the originator, the source of all things, originated us for a noble purpose in which we will worship God alone without ascribing any partners, without any associates, and if we do so, then God has promised us hereafter, whereas there's eternal pleasure, paradise under which rivers flow, where is no suffering, no pain, but bliss, tranquility, and contentment and happiness. But if you don't do that, if you don't believe and adhere to the belief in oneness of God and accepting His existence, and you believe in God having a daughter, for example, or a wife, or a son, or many gods, or no gods, then your fate is determined, because God has already prescribed that He will not forgive the association with Him in His divine reality, and hellfire will be their only destination. Let us hope that all of us are removed and safe from this hellfire. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لكم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.